Um, okay, so let's talk about the syllabus. So this is your syllabus. It's just this little one-page thing right here. Let's just go over what you need. A syllabus, in case you're not familiar with it, it's just by law, legally, every college class has to give you a syllabus. It's a contract. It tells you what I'm going to do, what you're supposed to do. Most of it's legalese. But here's the deal. Okay, getting a hold of me. There are 3 ways to get a hold of me. And I can't believe I didn't put this on there, so I had to write it up there. So this is my IRSC email address, which you're welcome to use. I sent you all a group email using this, and then I sent you all one to your high school account. Okay. I won't send you anything to your River Mail because I'm just going to assume you don't check it. Is that pretty fair? Okay, I'm thrilled if you just check this, right? This is pushing it. So, but anyway, that is my IRSC email address. Let me explain something though. I'll get back to it in a minute. This is my high school one. So if you want to use this instead, because it's easier because you're already in your high school email, this is me. You should be able to find me if you just type in Jill Holcomb, it should pop up. But if not, there it is. It's the normal thing that teachers have, and then Jill.Holcomb. And then this is my cell phone. Okay, put it in your phone, save it. Feel free to text me with any issue, problem you have. You are not bothering me. Everybody does it. Call me, whatever you need. I want you to use that. I wouldn't give it to you if I didn't want you to use it. Okay. But back to this, sometimes what happens, it looks a whole lot like this. Holcomb at mail.irsc.edu. A lot of times students will just lose their mind and forget there are other easier ways to contact me, and they will open up their River Mail and they will type in Holcomb because they can't remember this and thinking, oh, it'll pop up for me. This doesn't pop up. You know what pops up is this. What's the difference? This little dude. When you see mail after that at, this is a student email address. This is from like a million years ago when I was a student. And I don't know the password to this. I'm not interested in finding the password to this. I've got enough accounts. So every once in a while, somebody will email me with that. I will not get it ever, ever, ever. And I'm not going to try because there's other ways. Okay. So just be super careful. If you're going to use River Mail, don't put the mail after it. Okay. Otherwise, this one's always safe, and my text me or call me, that's always safe. Okay. Is that okay with everybody? It happens every semester, no matter how many times I say it. It's already happened once this semester. Okay, let's see. So we have your MyLab map. You don't really care about the book. Most of this is just legal stuff that you have to know. Let's see. We do have to do a diagnostic test. So if you took intermediate algebra, you did one of those too. You know, you have to it's on MyLab Math. It's an hour, but I think it's 20 questions. Won't take you an hour. You're not meant to get 100 on it because otherwise you probably would have tested out of college algebra and gone right into pre-cal. So don't worry about it or freak out about it. You can use anything you want. I don't care. It's just to collect data. That's all. It's just to collect data. Technically, if you fail it horribly, I'm supposed to like refer you to like the ASC lab, and you're supposed to go in and do extra work and all that stuff. I'm not doing that. It's just for data. That's it. Does not count for a grade. Do not worry about what you get on it. But because I have to have the data to send to my bosses at main campus, I'm going to give you bonus points for just getting on and doing it. Okay. So it's going to be due before everything else. It's going to be due next Friday by 11:59 p.m. So it gives you a week. So it's kind of your attendance requirement. So what that will do is it will make sure that you are registered on MyLab Math. It'll make sure your code's in, check. And it'll make sure I have the data in a timely manner to send over to main campus. Okay, so next Friday, the 14th by 11:59, go on and do that diagnostic test that you'll see in my lab map. Now it's only, open for one try. So if you have an issue and it kicks you out or your internet quits or something, text me and I'll reset it for you. But go in and do that one. All right, they try to scare you and tell you have to spend 9 hours a week in this class. If you're spending 9 hours a week in this class, we're going to have a talk. So this is all required. All right, here's that graphing calculator requirement. Don't panic. You do not have to have one. So this is also really similar to intermediate in this kind of respect. So when I first started teaching, it was My Math Lab. That was the name of the software. And then 2 years ago, another company bought it and they changed the name from My Math Lab, which I'd always use, MML, to My Lab Math. And I swear they did it just to give me like a heart attack. Because I'm sorry, I thought I had corrected everything. If you hear me say the words My Math Lab, it's the same thing as My Lab Math. I just can't. I'm trying super hard, but I can't quite switch over, and that snuck in on me. I thought I had everything switched. So I had a student 1 year panic and say, do I have to do all the My Lab Maths and the My Math Labs? And I said, no, it's all one thing. But that's where all your homework and your quizzes are. So everything's going to be due on test day at 11:59 p.m. So
We're doing 11 a.m. like before the class starts.
Oh no, I know you got to get home and do everything because y'all didn't do it before. I know how it was. Anyway, so yes, so just and when I give you a due date, it's always 11:59 p.m. Okay. So that's that. But and it's all due test day. But try to do a little bit at a time as we go. Yeah. Okay. All your homework, of course, it's unlimited. You just do it until you're happy with your grade. Hopefully it's an A. And then the highest grades, what goes in the grade book, your quizzes. All right, if you're coming from stats, I got bad news for you too, kiddos. The days of taking a quiz one question at a time are over. So everyone hates the My Lab Math quizzes. You have to take the whole quiz, right? You got to take the whole quiz. And then it grades it. And if you're not happy with your grade or you missed something, what do you have to do? You got to take the whole quiz again. So
same questions and answers?
No, I wish. I know. So be really careful. Yeah, they're very similar, but they're a little different. They switch up the order and everything. So yeah. Quizzes, unlimited attempts on your quizzes. Do them as many times as you want. No time limits or anything like that because I'm a slow worker, so I don't want you guys to do
Wait, the quiz is in 45 minutes?
No, I can barely get through those quizzes in 45 minutes.
Awesome.
Take as long as you want.
If
Even if you kind of just like close it, don't submit, but kind of like just close it or leave it.
what?
Yeah. You can resume. Okay. So I'm going to drop your 2 lowest homeworks. I'm going to drop your 2 lowest quizzes. So ideally, you're going to do fantastic until the very end when you're losing your mind with all your other classes. Hello, Bio 2. And then at the end, when you're losing your mind, guess what? You don't have to do the last 2 homeworks or the last 2 quizzes. Why? Because it doesn't matter what you get, I'm gonna drop them anyway, right? There is one homework that I do highly recommend you skip because it's a real pain in the butt and super time consuming. In chapter 3, I'll tell you that when you get there. So kind of keep that in mind that you're gonna reserve one of your drops for chapter 3. Just because anyway, okay, so here's the grade shakeout. Very, very test heavy in this class. Very test heavy. So we do have a lot of homework and quizzes, not quite as much as intermediate, but a lot, but not yeah. But they're not worth a huge amount. This participation and attendance, it's just kind of like, get in here, don't be on your phone. Don't annoy Miss Holcomb. You get your 5%. And then we have 4 tests, and then you do have a cumulative final at the end. So that's the other difference in stats. Stat doesn't have a final, and college algebra does.
So sitting in here not knowing you is basically about the same as doing me and assignment.
Yes,
Okay.
you're so smart. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's about it. So you can always access your old assignments even after the due date, but at that point, they're only going to be worth 70%. So keep that in mind. Try to get them done beforehand, but don't leave a 0 because you would be shocked. You would be shocked at how many people see that 15% and feel like that's not a lot. I'll just get A's on everything and I'll be super nice. And then I'll have an 85 in the class. You would be shocked at what those zeros will do to your grade. And by just doing a little bit on each assignment or, you know, the quizzes, how much that will bring your grade up. An entire letter grade normally, it will bump you up. So really, I mean, it is huge, 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 huge. So be careful with that little philosophy, but that is on there. Okay, most dual enrollment students don't drop classes because then you have to pay for them, but that is the drop date on there. Let's see. Okay, makeup test. So this is kind of the department policy, which sounds kind of scary. I'm not worried about it that much, but you do need to tell me ahead of time if you're not going to be here on a test day. Okay, just shoot me a text. I can't make the test today. Okay, then that's enough for me to say, okay, then I'm able to give you the test at a later date. Okay, just don't, you know, not show up and then you bebop in the next class and you're like, oh yeah, you know, I wasn't here for that test. Well, yeah, so now you have a 0. That happened with a student I had in college algebra last semester and it really screwed up his grade because he just could not tell me ahead of time because I think he was sleeping in. But so make sure you tell me ahead of time if you're going to miss a test and then we'll just make other arrangements for you. Okay. What else? And then I can't drop a test, but I can take your final exam and I can replace your lowest test grade with it if it helps you. And it usually does. I think a lot, my college algebra kids, they usually do really, really good on the final. And then because it's multiple choice. And then I can replace one of your other grades. All right, I think that's it. I think the rest of this stuff is just legal stuff. You don't have to buy a Scantron. They give you the 25-cent Scantron. They just don't give you the $100 calculator. And I think that's it. Oh, you do need a calculator. You're not going to be able to use your phone on the test. So sometimes students use their calculator on their phone in class just because they don't want to get off their calculator for some reason, but make sure that you have one for the test. Okay, anybody have questions on this? That sound good? Okay, let's look at our little assignment schedule. Here we go. So I'm a planner. Here we go. This is your little assignment schedule. So I made you a little flag up here. So just don't forget, that's when I need your diagnostic to be done, please. That'll get you your 5 bonus points. After that day, after this day, I'm still going to bug you about doing it, but you're not getting any points. So you might as well, you're going to do it. I will not let you rest, but so you might as well get your points. Okay. All right. So we're not going to quite get this far, but I put it on there anyway for today. And then, so if you notice, I have to be out of town next Wednesday. So I went ahead and caught us back up on our classes. We missed 2. So by next week, we're going to be caught back up on our classes. Okay. And then of course you're out, not Monday, but the next Monday. And so I'm going to try to keep you kind of current on this is what's coming this week and next week. So be prepared. So just know next week you're going to see me Monday, Tuesday, Friday. But I'll be gone Wednesday and Thursday. Huh? Oh. No. So kind of keep that in mind. This first part, honestly, until until the end of 1.6, until about next Friday, honestly, it's just review. It's just review. A lot of college algebra teachers don't even teach it. Bless you. They just say, make sure you're comfortable with this, and they turn you loose. But I like to go over it. I just go over everything. So what happens is my kiddos that tested right into college algebra that didn't go through intermediate, they kind of appreciate the review. They're like, oh yeah, that's kind of nice. I remember this. This is good. The kiddos that came from intermediate, you're like, oh my gosh, I already know this is so stupid and boring. But just, you can do it. It's just a few days. You got to learn, never complain about something easy. Never complain about something easy. So just sit there and happily be bored for a couple of classes until we hit that new stuff, because there's nothing wrong with, stuff you already know. So kind of keep that in mind. And then we hit new stuff about Friday. Next Friday we'll hit new stuff. And then I try to put, like test 1 is on the first page, test 2 is the second page, test 3 is the third page, kind of group them together for you that way. But your first test is going to be Wednesday the 26th. So all your stuff is due. They normally, just like intermediate, have one homework assignment per section, right? And then they sprinkle some quizzes throughout. This first section, I don't know why I do this, but so like section 1.4, you have 2 homeworks, 1.4A and 1.4B. For 1.5, you have 1.5A and 1.5B. They split it up into 2 parts. Don't panic. They're like 5 questions each. That's it. They're super fast. You're gonna be so fast through these. Okay. There will come a time when you're going to get bogged down in like 10 questions and they each have parts A through F, but this is not that part. So you're going to be okay. They're fast. The quizzes are a little strange. This is not a mistake. The quizzes are set up super strange. So quiz 1 takes the first part of every section. Quiz 2 takes the second part of 3 of the sections. So technically speaking, you can do quiz 2 before you can do quiz 1, because we haven't got to 1.7A quite yet, probably. So it's a little strange. I tried to put it in order to where I think you could do it, but yeah, it's there. So what you're looking at are 3 quizzes, and let's see. 7, 8, 9. Okay, so you're looking at 9 homeworks. They're quick, especially in the beginning, and 3 quizzes that will be due on the 26th. Okay, so try to kind of keep up with those. You got some 3-day weekends coming up. You got 2 days in a row next week, and instead of doing whatever it is you guys do out there together, you could actually do your work, right? When you're not in class. That's a great idea. How about that? So there's an idea. Okay, and then if you just kind of want to kind of look ahead, anything with all those like stars by it, that's an extra day. So I put in 2 extra days in February, 1 extra day in March, and 1 extra day in April. So they really taper off, and it's not quite as much put in there altogether. Okay. And then if you just kind of take note at the very end, the semester ends Thursday, April 21st is the last day of spring. So that gives you like over a month of high school still left, right? Peace out, and folk will be at home. But you guys will still get bussed over, because they really don't have anywhere to put you. So you'll be done. Our exam is on the 20th. Other exams are on the 21st, but then you're finished. And then that Friday is the it's either early release or no school. You're not doing whatever. So something I would encourage you to do, the summer schedules are not available yet. They will be coming up in the next month or so, but I really highly encourage you to take summer A classes. Now, not if you're a senior, because you're not eligible, but if you are a junior or a sophomore, I would really encourage you to take summer A classes, because you need to get those classes in anyway. You're done the 20th. You have a whole month of high school left. It's not like you're running free doing crazy stuff. You're still in school. So you might as well, because your college stuff's done, stick in a summer A, put in 1 or 2 courses, even if they're online. And do that, and then they end the first week of June. And so really, you're only doing 1 extra week of school, and you're getting the course in. So that's kind of my motherly advice to you is we end so early, really take advantage of that. If you need something, another course, try, think about doing that summer A.
When does summer A start?
Read that next week.
When does summer B start?
Okay, there you go. So you might think about it. Yeah, you might as well, because you're not going to have a whole lot going on. I'm guessing this is not your only dual enrollment class, and so they will all be done in that part of April. But okay, any questions on the little schedule then? Good. Okay, and then I've never done this before, but I don't know, I think I have too much time on my hands over break, but I made you a little calendar. So just to kind of help you keep up with everything, because I know it's really strange. So of course, we're over here on this class. So just remember, next week, we're doing Monday, we're doing Tuesday, we're doing Friday, okay? So if you're also trying to keep track of Mr. Moore, that's just going to throw him for a loop, because he always gets off anyway, right? About like halfway through the month, he starts doing the wrong Friday. So this is really gonna mess everybody up. All right. I know, it's insane. And Stats has much smaller curriculum than Trig and College Algebra. And every year I say, please, in the spring, do not put College Algebra and Trig on Monday, Wednesday, that schedule. And every year they do it anyway. And I'm like, okay, well,
How did we what is the one for intermediate algebra? Because we only have Tuesday, Thursday.
yeah, I don't know how you got through all that. I think it's because she did videos. Didn't y'all have videos?
We really had like 3 days though.
Yeah. Oh, that was in the fall. Yeah, but she only did the 2. I don't know. I'm not so sure. Maybe she just went a little faster. I'm a little slower. I'm not sure how they got through it. So
She does go really slow.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's look at Blackboard. Everybody good on the paper stuff? Okay, so everybody knows how to get on Blackboard, right? You guys are familiar with that? Okay, so you'll go to your Pioneer portal and you come to this little guy here, and then you click on Blackboard. All right, well, here's our class. So if you need to, here's my little instructor information. It's got the high school email, the college email, the cell phone. Okay. Well, I don't want to do that, but my announcements, it's the same announcement I emailed to you. Get something on the loose running away from you. So I won't ever post anything and assume you're going to read it. I will talk about it in class, but there it is. Okay, content. That's where all the good stuff is. So if you click on content, here is your course info. This is just in case you lose anything and you're at home and you want to see it. Otherwise, I have lots of extra copies, so you're welcome to take another one. All right, so this unit 1, that would be everything you need for test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, final exam. So of course, we're in unit 1 right now. We're about to start it. Okay, so in unit 1, you're going to find the blank packet. Do not print that out. Your parents will kill you. You saw how thick it is, right? I have lots of extras. There will always be one in the back for you. If you lose one, you do not have to tell me and do the walk of shame in the back to get one. Just casually grab one. I'll never know. Okay. I'm also going to give you study guides. I'm a big study guide gal. So on your review days, you'll have your study guides, but here's an extra one if you need it. Okay, here's also my completed stuff. So that's my completed study guide. Here's my completed packet. So if you are out one day and you want to know, what did Ms. Holcomb write? What is all her stuff? Here's my packet. It's just the thing that I'm going by with all my little notes written next to it. So you're welcome to use that or have that. it is there for you. Okay, so you can catch up and use that if you need to. But like I said, I am not looking at yours or collecting yours. But if you want to look at mine, sometimes there'll be a mistake. So if you see something on there that looks a little wonky, don't doubt yourself. It's probably wonky, right? So just shoot me a text or email and I'll say, yeah, I don't know what I was doing, if it's a weird number. But that content will help you. So there's that. Here's how you're going to get onto My Lab Math. You're going to click here, right? And then, has anyone done that yet by chance? Put their code in? What did you have to do? Did you guys, you just put the code in, it took it right away. You didn't have to know like a password or anything weird. Cool. Okay. So you're going to put your code in. If your code doesn't work, text me right away. Sometimes the bookstore gives us used codes. Occasionally, we had that trouble in pre-calc in the fall, but you should be okay. So you're going to put your code in, and then yours won't look exactly like this. But if you want to access the book just for fun, you're going to go to the course home. If you want to just access the homework and the quizzes, of course, that's all assignments. Okay, so you'll click on that. And this is going to pop up for you. So here's your diagnostic test. It's the only one that has a different date. Okay, and it's the only one that says one try only. Okay, it's also going to be the only one with a time limit. So do not leave this and come back because you'll run out of time and it'll submit it for you. So you'll click on your diagnostic test. It's going to tell you it has 20 questions. Okay. Don't worry about it. It's not affecting your grade book. I don't even know what a study plan is. And you're going to start your test. Okay. And just go through and just do the best you can. It's kind of just to see what level everyone is on. It's not so much for dual enrollment. I only have dual enrollment teachers. You guys are a different breed. It's usually for teachers that don't have dual enrollment because then they need to know where is everyone in the class. I know where you guys are. Even the lowest of you is still way smarter than most of the regular kids. So you guys didn't get here by, being wrong. So you guys are fine. And if you do forget something, you're gonna just zoom right back up to the top and you pick up things fast. So that's why I don't really, it's just for data. And they always email me and say, your diagnostic scores were a little high. Did you do it together in class? And I'm like, no, I just have all dual enrollment students. And so, yeah, because they're just, most campuses don't have only dual enrollment, they have mixed. And so, yeah, I can't believe you guys are so smart. Okay, so here's all your weird homework with the A's and then the B's. So just search it up there. Here's your little quizzes. Okay. So unlimited attempts, there's no time limit. All right, I do have these review practice problems down here. If you had intermediate, you're familiar with those. There's like 5 million, right? This is not an assignment. It is not required. It's not even reflective of the test. And if you had intermediate, I think you figured that out, right? That's why I do a study guide because I don't think it's really that helpful if you're studying, but I do like extra credit. So I always give you bonuses on your test. If you will get an 80 or higher, I'll give you 5 bonus points. Okay. If you want to do them all and get 100, that's great, but you're only getting 5 bonus points. So if I were you, I'd stop when you get to 80. So I would just hop around here, find some questions that look good till you make an 80. So what is that going to turn into if there's 60 questions? Let's see. That is, you got to do 48. Okay, so if you pick your favorite 48 on there, you'll make an 80 and you'll get 5 bonus points. Now, this does not tell me whether you did it or not. I have to manually go in and check. So if you will, just shoot me a text and say that you did it. This is not due until the end of class, the end of the course. This is due on the 19th. So a lot of times you can wait till after your test. And then if you feel like, man, I really bombed that, I could use half a letter grade, go back and do it, and then I'll fix your test grade. Or if you get to the end of the class and you're like, wow, I could really use, because this goes in the test category. I could really use an extra letter grade. Go back and do 2 practice problem sets, 5 points and 5 points. You got 10 points. That's a letter grade. So you don't have to do it ahead of time. It's just if you need it, if you determine that you need it, it's there for you. And you just do 80%. Okay. And you can always figure that out. Just 0.8 times however many problems there are. That's all I did. Okay. Is that all right? Okay. But I wouldn't waste time with them before a test because it's not, I don't think it's going to help you. I would just look at the study guide. What else? I think that's it. The rest of this stuff, you know about your grades. The rest of this stuff is just extra stuff they make me kind of put on there. And anything you do in Blackboard, give it about 15, 20 minutes and it'll be in your, no, I'm sorry, anything you do in my lab math, give it 15, 20 minutes and it'll put it into Blackboard. It'll update your grade automatically, except for those practice problems, those bonus things. Okay. All right, that was a lot. What do we think? Pretty good? Yeah. Oh, great question. I don't know that. Do you just click on the My Lab Math? Oh, but I mean, what did you do? You clicked on this little tab? Okay. Uh-huh. Perfect. Okay. Copy it, paste it. Okay, so click on your My Lab Math, and then you guys see I would have written it down and then I would have typed it in. Okay, so then I guess you pull up your email and copy and paste it. But anyway, I think it has to be all caps, and I think each little piece has to go in a box. Is that right? Like 5 letters per box. Don't stick it all in one. I have some people do that. Okay, does that sound good? We used to hand out paper copies and they were like scratch offs, and there would always be some like super aggressive scratcher that would scratch through the paper and ruin the code. So we quit doing that. So
yeah, we got them last semester and like you can scratch treasure and it'd be like a really dark.
And then yes, I was like, listen. All right. Okay. All right. Everybody good though? Is that, anybody have any questions, any issues, concerns? Okay. Well, let's jump right into this then. This is kind of an old packet that I made many, many moons ago, back when we used to teach section 1.3, but we don't teach section 1.3 anymore. They're word problems. I know you're going to cry about that. You wish we still did, right? So you get to skip pages 1 and 2 and 3. And look, we're already on page 4. How about that? We're going to zoom over and we're going to start on page 4. Okay, there we go. So that's where we're going to start. This is just review. I know, hang in there. Talking about complex numbers, roots, what do they mean? We're going to add them, subtract them, multiply them, and then we're going to divide them. And then that's kind of where we'll leave off for today. We'll see how far we can get. So section 1.4 is, I think, most of this stuff. And then I think 1.4a, 1.4b is, I think, the back, like page 5, especially the division is, I think, 1.4b. So that's kind of how it's split up. But all right, so let's talk about complex numbers. So let's talk about imaginary numbers. Everybody remember this little guy? This little I, remember him? So imaginary number. What does I stand for? Close. I squared is -1. Excellent, we need that. So I is really square root of -1. That's all that means, okay? Square root of -1. And the reason that's imaginary is because you can't take an even root of a negative number. It doesn't exist. So why are we doing imaginary numbers? Because they help us get to a higher level math that can only be explained and reached by kind of just putting in a little placeholder, putting in something to just stand for something that kind of violates a math law, and that would be I, okay? So I know it seems strange, and at this level, you're like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We're not even doing real stuff. But it's going to get where we need to go in trig. It's going to get where we need to go in calculus. It's going to give us kind of a plan to get there if we just keep following the rules. And even if this giant no-no happens, you have a even root of a negative number, that's okay. We're not going to panic. We're just going to put something in that says, okay, I know you're not real, but you just sit there a minute while I do some other stuff. And the thing that's going to sit there a minute is the little I. That's just what we call it, right? Okay, so that's imaginary. When you combine a real number, I'm going to call him A, with some type of an imaginary number, I'm going to call him BI, you get a complex number. That's what that means, right? So A plus BI, a lot of students don't like that because they want to see numbers, okay? So if you really, really hate that, you can just pretend I gave you an example like this, 2 plus 3i. That's all I mean. Or maybe, how about -4 plus 3i, or anything, right? We're just talking about a real number that you're allowed to have, plus or a minus, could be minus, some type of an imaginary number. Okay, and we know he's imaginary because he's got the little I sitting next to him. So that means he's imaginary. All right, when you combine them, you get this little form. It has to be in that form, has to be. Don't tell me if you were writing 2 plus 3i, do not write 3i plus 2. Not okay. I'm kind of just a little bit OCD, right? It's not, it's really not OCD. It's the way that the complex number has to be written. You have to put the imaginary part at the end. You just have to. We do a lot of, I call it math manners, which, you know, math is like, it's a language. And if you don't learn how to speak it, if you don't know the rules, you can't play the game and you can't talk the language. So this is a rule. This is a math manner. You have to put the imaginary part at the end. You have to, okay? So it has to be in that form. Also notice that there's 2 pieces to it, which is not a big deal right now. But eventually we're going to get into situations where it's like all under one number. The whole thing becomes a numerator. Well, that's not 2 pieces. That's just one big chunk. So we're going to have to separate it and give each piece that same denominator. Okay, that's another little math manner. So we'll get there. So has to be in that form. The I comes last, and we have to have 2 pieces. Super duper important. When you get to calculus, those people over there will lose their ever-loving mind if you don't do that. So there's your warning. Okay. All right. So, oh, look there. I didn't know I'd already wrote that, but look, there it is. Okay. So let's just work on putting some of these things together. Now I put them in parentheses. You don't have to put them in parentheses, but I did that to just kind of show you these people go together and these people go together. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. All right. So let's add them. Let's subtract them. I just did one of each because I know you guys know how to do this. So when you add them together, you're going to add the real parts. So -2 plus 4, +2. And then you're going to add the imaginary parts. So I have 6i minus I. Now, how many i's is this if it's just minus I? One I, secretly, right? So I have 6i minus 1i. So I really have 5i. There's my answer. You're just going to combine like terms. That's it. And if you only see an I, just remember it's one of those, right? Okay, so addition's pretty easy. I don't think any of you would have any trouble with that. All right, then we come up with sneaky subtraction. Subtraction gets you every time. It seems so easy, right? Because it's like, well, yeah, they teach it in like 1st grade. Subtraction always has a hidden step. Always a hidden step. Here's your hidden step. There's a distribution step hidden in there anytime you do anything. So if I minus this, what am I really doing with this minus? Yeah, you got to multiply it through there. So if you don't need to write it over, certainly don't. But what I have is this. and then I'm going to have plus 9 plus 11i. Okay, that's what's really going on. Don't forget the little hidden step. Now we're just combining like terms. So negative 7 plus 9 and 5i plus 11i. Okay, 2 plus 69. Everybody good? Remember all that stuff? Okay. All right, let's do a little multiplication then. So that's easy enough. We've only been dealing with i's. You can always leave an I. In fact, it's preferred. If you have an I, leave it alone. Now we're going to start getting into multiplication. You cannot leave I squared. You're not allowed. You can leave an I, they want you to. Leave it alone. Don't change it to square root of -1. You cannot leave I squared. So if you run across an I squared, we're going to turn it into a -1. Okay, so here we go. All right, I threw A on here because I wanted to test you and see. I won't know really, but you'll know. Okay. All right, did we get a little bit weird here and think I'm going to distribute this square? Did we decide that it was 8 squared plus 9i squared? Good, I'm seeing some notes. Please don't do that. There's always somebody that's like, yeah, I did. Okay, you cannot distribute exponents over addition and subtraction. No. What does this really mean? That times that again. There's 2 of them. If this were a 3 up here, there'd be 3 of them. So you really have FOIL, right? You're really multiplying. Okay, here we go. 8 times 8, 64. 8 times 9i, we have plus 72i. All right, 9i times 8, another 72i. Okay, here's where we get a little strange. We got to change something in the back. We're going to have plus 81, and then I times I is I squared. So we are not going to leave that. We're going to have some cleanup to do. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to write 64 over. I'm going to combine my middle term, 72 plus 72. Perfect, 144i. Leave your little I in there. We can leave him. All right, what are we going to do about plus 81i squared? What does that turn into? Excellent, negative 81. Let's talk about that a minute. Okay, we have 81. We said I squared is -1. So this turns into minus 81. Does everybody know why it turns into minus 81? Okay, so my little kind of shortcut is anytime I see an I squared term, okay, I immediately just kind of cross it out and I change the sign of the term. It's handled. So when I see I squared, I cross it out, I change the sign. If it's a plus, it becomes a negative. If it's a minus, it becomes a plus. And then I'm just ready to kind of combine. So we still have 2 little guys to combine. Now, here's where students really want to be a little different because they notice this is going to be a minus 17 and they don't like it to be a negative 17 in the front, but is this allowed? It's not. I know it's not as elegant to write it like this, have that big old negative in the front. I know it seems a little nicer to put that minus in the back, but you're not allowed. You got to really just make sure that you put it in the right order. Okay. Is everybody okay with that? Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so all I did here, remember, this was a -1, so I just changed my sign. Okay, let's try it again here. All right, I'm gonna have 36. Gonna have minus 54i plus 54i minus 81i squared. What's with the 81? Okay. All right, what happens here to my 2 middle terms? They cancel each other out, they're gone. Okay, that leaves me with 36. All right, I have a minus 81i squared. What is minus 81i squared going to become? Positive 81. So you can do the little thing here where you do the negative 81 times the -1. I'm just going to get rid of I squared. Here it goes. And I'm going to change my sign. So it's really plus 81. And I come up with 117. And that's it. The imaginary parts went away. Anybody know why they went away on that problem? What was the secret to getting rid of all of those i's? Look at those, that original problem. The only difference in the two items multiplied together was what? Their sign, the sign of the imaginary part. When the only thing that changes is the sign of your imaginary part, that's called a complex conjugate. Super important. We're going to need that on the next page. Anytime you get in a bind and you're dealing with a math problem and you want to get rid of I, and you're going to need to sometimes get rid of I, you multiply it by its complex conjugate. You just change the sign on the I term, and then you multiply, and they go away every time. Okay, so that's what happened here. All right, let's try this guy. Well, definitely not the same parentheses, and they are not complex conjugates. So who knows what we're going to come up with here. But all right, I get a negative 24 plus 72i. I get plus 12i, and I get minus 36i squared. Okay. Well, I'm going to write over negative 24. I'm going to clean up this middle here. So 72 plus 12. And still 84i. Okay, what am I going to do with negative 36i squared? Plus 36. I get rid of my I squared. I change the sign. Gives me a 36. Keep going. I'm going to handle that beginning part. I get a 12, and I got to put it in the front because that's what you do with real numbers. And then there you go. Put your I in the back. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop there for today because it is 10 o'clock. But when we come back on Monday, we'll work on some radicals and we'll divide. Okay. So I think if you really, really wanted to, this is what I recommend for you is get logged into my lab math, get your diagnostic done, and then you really could do 1.4a, you know, and kind of get it out of the way, or at least most of it. Okay, if you have any trouble at all though, please text me. I know it's the weekend. I don't do anything. Just, I'll be there. You can just, you know, ask me whatever you need.